Hi, I'm Tom Laux, Communications Director for the City of Marshfield, and welcome to Connections. Thank you for joining me. Today, my guest, Scott Owen.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
All right, Fire Chief is here. It's our monthly program that we do every third week on a Wednesday, so it's already middle of the week. That's nice to feel.
Yeah, it's middle of the month, so that's pretty sad already.
I know, it's going so fast, but it hopefully, things have been kind of quiet for you guys. You don't want a lot of stuff happening. Anything that happened in the last month since we spoke? Any big fires or?
No big fires. Fire responses, pretty normal for this time of year. Not many, which is a good thing. Medical calls, again, same as usual. We're up to anywhere up to 10, 12 a day. There's some days, Sunday I think they had 3 all day, which is kind of a nice break for them.
Right.
But for the most part, we're running about 10 calls a day.
All right. But you provide tours too at times of the station. Someone wants to do that, just give you a call?
Yeah, just call down to the station, call the main number, and someone will be able to help you schedule that tour. It can be a large group, so if there's like a summer childcare or a church group or something that wants to go through, or it could just be mom and dad bringing their kids through.
Oh, really?
And even for those very small ones, you can just pop in, and most times we'll be able to accommodate.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn in the fire department, and you never know. Maybe a child or even a parent may be interested in getting in the field.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're always looking for people at times. And talking about looking for people, I know you were planning for 3 people. Is that right? Did that happen?
Not yet. We're still waiting on Marshfield Clinic to finalize the contract. It's with their legal department. Once that's done, it'll come back to us. It'll go to our city administrator, our commission, and our legal department, just to make sure that everything is good.
Okay.
And then once it looks like it's going to be finalized, then we're going to start the hiring process.
And that's for paramedic, firefighter, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You serve both?
Correct.
Everybody does at the station.
Correct.
Is that right? You'd be paramedic and firefighter. You get an ambulance, you get in a fire truck. Although you have designated positions on fire, right? Like a pump operator? Or?
Yep. Yeah, so each day we have 2 people that are the pump operators for the first and second engine. We have one that's the truck operator, and then we have a second officer, the shift commander, and then 2 people on the first responding ambulance.
All right. Well, let's talk about those rigs. You had a chance to go see your ambulance being built.
We did.
And it's in Ohio, if
Correct.
I'm right? So we need a new ambulance. How many we have? I guess these are the questions I'm asking. We'll just say, how many do we have now, and what is this ambulance going to do differently than what you have?
So yes, we went down to Braun Industries, Braun Ambulance Manufacturing, down in Van Wert, Ohio, about an 8-hour drive from here. We were able to see our new ambulance. They took us through a tour of the facility and showed us from raw material, sheets of steel, how they form it, how they fabricate it, how they weld it all together, to eventually the finished product. Our ambulance wasn't on the chassis yet, so it was still being put together, but it was a perfect time for us to go because we're able to make sure that we have the correct amount of outlets in there that we want, or the lighting, or anything that we need to tweak before the final touches are put on it, like the padding and flooring and all that stuff. So it's really quite an amazing process on how they build these. So right now we have 4 ambulances. This one will be the 5th. We typically trade one in whenever we're going to get a new one. But this year we opted to keep that 5th. We have more times than I can ever recall having multiple ambulances out at the same time. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow us, hopefully, to maintain 4 ambulances all the time. If one goes in the shop, we're going to maintain 4. For the amount of money that we would get in trade-in on this, we figured this is probably a better way to go. And down the road, if it ends up not being something that is used a lot, we'll take that oldest ambulance, put it up on Wisconsin Surplus, and sell.
Okay.
But this new ambulance, it's called a Type 1, so it's a truck chassis. The front is separated from the back. With the Type 3s, you can actually walk between the front and the back most times. Sometimes configurations don't allow it, but most times you can. The biggest advantage to this one is it's going to be four-wheel drive. This will be our first four-wheel drive ambulance. Last year, we had a couple of occasions where the ambulance got stuck in a driveway and had to get towed out either by our station pickup truck or an actual tow truck. So we're hoping that by getting four-wheel drive, it's not going to get stuck. It's a heavier unit, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah. I wouldn't think an ambulance gets stuck, but it does.
Oh yeah, they get stuck. And unfortunately, when we get called out any time of the day, if it's middle of the night and people haven't been able to get out and snow blow or shovel or whatever, we have to get up to the house, and sometimes you get stuck. Sometimes country is worse.
Yeah.
But we do what we can, and once that ambulance, we should be picking the ambulance up sometime. I would say mid-August.
Oh, not too far.
Not too far. It should be coming back. We'll be going down to Braun again to do a final inspection, make sure everything is the way we want it, make sure it works, and then we'll be driving it back.
Okay.
And then when it gets back here, it'll go up to Stratford Sign. It'll have all the graphics put on, all the lettering, and then when it gets done with that, be back in the station to be stocked and put into service.
Put into service. That's pretty neat. And yeah, these ambulances, even fire engines, are pretty complex.
They are.
So you can't just go and get it at a dealer or GM or Ford. What is the chassis? Is it a Ford?
So our chassis is a Ford F550.
Oh, 550.
It's a heavy duty.
Okay.
Because we carry the Jaws of Life, we carry our tactical gear in case we have to go in with the police department, and all of the other equipment that we carry nowadays. We almost have to go with the 550 and the Type 1s because it's so much weight in them.
So when you have to transport somebody, is it just a one-person transport per ambulance, or can you get more? Like it only fits like a, do you say a gurney? I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, we could transport two.
Oh, you can.
The bench seat, which would be on the curb side of the ambulance, so the right-hand side, you can put a backboard on that and use that as a transport. We prefer to do one per ambulance. It just makes patient care easier.
Yep.
But in a situation where, maybe a car accident where we have a mom and a child that need to go, instead of separating, we try and keep them together. And that'd be an instance where we put, maybe the child on the backboard and mom on the gurney and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they're together.
Yeah.
But you're able to administer some kind of medicine, is that correct, at times?
Our medics can do pretty much everything they can do in the emergency room.
Oh, really?
The only thing they can't do is they can't do x-rays. That's not available pre-hospital yet. I foresee it coming.
Really?
They have actually down south, somewhere in Texas, they just purchased and put into service a mobile MRI unit.
Okay.
Or a CT scan. And they're able to do stroke care right in the field.
Wow. That's a time that it's sensitive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aneurysm,
Yep.
all that, right?
Yep. So there's a lot of things we can do. We just can't obviously do the x-ray. So
Right.
we can't say it is broken, it's possibly broken.
Right. But you're communicating to ER, right?
Yep.
And as you're driving, you're probably you're on a separate line, probably saying heart rate is this, right?
Yep.
If they ask, and
Yeah,
is there something serious?
they're giving the patient care report before they get there.
Okay.
We always try to give it out, about 10 minutes ahead of time. Sometimes the call is right down the road from the hospital, and we don't. By the time we get in the rig and start driving, we're there, and so we show up, and they don't like that too much. But we're too close.
Well, I'd rather be too close, actually.
Yeah.
Do they listen? Do they have a scanner too then at those places, or are they more waiting for your?
I don't think they have a scanner.
Okay.
At least Marshfield Medical doesn't. I don't think. So they listen.
Okay.
If it sounds like it's a bad call, our crews, as they respond, will call the hospital and say, hey, just as a heads up, we're going on this. It sounds like we may have X number of patients or whatever. So they can kind of get prepped
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to that new ambulance coming by in August, almost about the time when you come here again on the third week of.
Yeah.
But it won't be in service. It has
No.
to get the lettering, and there's a lot of lettering involved.
There
in
is,
that to
yeah.
make it look nice, and
Yep.
and there. Well, let's go right into another discussion with vehicles. Is we all see them when we're driving or walking or just hear it, and everyone's always curious. Oh, what's going on?
Sure.
But the question I have is, and I got it from your Facebook page, is the roundabout. But we can talk about the roundabout and just driving. If you hear it, what should someone do when an ambulance or a fire truck or even PD are behind you with their sirens on?
Yeah, so if we're traveling in the same direction as traffic, you definitely want to pull to the right. All of our emergency responders are trained to pass on the left. We will pass on the right if we absolutely have to, but it's a very dangerous activity for us because everybody's taught to pull to the right. So you pull to the right, and it just allows us to pass without having to worry about different things. If you're going down maybe like Central Avenue where there's a concrete median in between, it's nice if you pull over. In the middle it's not necessary, but near the intersections it is, because you never really know where we're going to turn.
Right.
And there are times when all of the lanes of traffic are blocked and we do have to go into oncoming traffic. So
Really?
in that instance, pulling over is definitely beneficial and helpful. Anytime that you see them, just pull to the right and wait until it passes. We do have the benefit here in the city of having emergency vehicle preemption, meaning that we can control the stoplights as we drive. It's all GPS based, and that really does help move traffic out of our way. So if you're sitting at a stoplight and you hear us coming, it flips green, pull through and to the right so that we can get through. That way we don't have to go in the opposite lane.
Who does that, or is it do it automatically?
It's automatically.
Oh, it knows when you're coming by
Yep.
your engine, or
Yeah, we have sensors on the rig,
Oh.
and it's a smart system, meaning that if we're going down Central, and let's say we're going to turn, and the next street over has a signalized intersection, once we put our signal on, it will activate that preemption device on the next street.
Wow.
In preparation for us to get there. It'll start that sequence.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah, just the technology. You've been in this for how many years?
I've been in the fire service for 28.
Hasn't it changed? If you
It
look
has
back
changed a lot.
25 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
totally different, right?
Totally.
No
Totally.
GPS, and earlier, we had the Police and Fire Commission today.
Yep.
I think you mentioned something with David Bueller and GIS.
Yes.
Is that something similar, or what?
So what Dave is doing with us is we have our pre-fire plans, and pre-fire plans have traditionally been on paper. You pull it up as you're going to a place, and you say, "Oh, this is where the fire department connection is. This is where the gas shutoff is. This is how much water you need," type of thing. And it's 2D. It's just what you have here. What David is doing with his interns is he's building a 3D rendering of buildings within the city that we respond to, and we're able to pull it up on the web on a secure site and see the different layers of these buildings. So the different floors, it's all color coded based on this is hazardous, this is shutoffs,
Wow.
this is. It's really quite an impressive system, and it's actually something that I believe he presented at one of his GIS conferences,
Okay.
and he's gotten a lot of feedback. Hey, can we steal that? Can we get some help on this? That's really
Yeah.
a neat idea. So it's a really neat concept. It's going to take a couple of years to get it completely built, but right now we have the city buildings done. I think we have the schools done.
Okay.
And we're starting to work on what we call high risk. So the Marshfield Door, Felker Brothers, the high rises, so like 606 South Walnuts, Cedar
Okay.
Rail. Those are the types of things that we're working on right now, and then we're going to start on Central Avenue because those are important to us,
Wow.
the downtown area. And then as time progresses, we'll add in the Targets and the Walmarts and that type of thing.
Okay.
It's a pretty time-intensive process, but it's going to be well worth it in the end.
So it's your crew talking to the owners of some of these and knowing what's in the building, like
Yep.
like if there's a false ceiling and what the ceiling's made out of. So then David gets that information and puts it in.
Yeah, so
Wow.
like when we go on a pre-plan, we'll look at this and you got a false ceiling. What's above that false ceiling?
Yeah.
We've run into several different fire scenes where there's a false ceiling and you start to pull it and there's another ceiling above it and then another ceiling above it. Because over remodeling, they just put new ceiling, and that causes problems. So that's kind of the idea behind this. It would be a pretty neat thing.
It would.
that's done.
Now, if we're on a fire scene, who would be the guy that would actually look that up?
So as they're responding, the shift commander can pull it up on the computer in the engine and look at it. Otherwise, if it's going to be a large-scale incident, when I get there or another deputy gets there, then we could pull that up and start working different strategies and tactics on that.
And that's like that incident commander.
Yep, the incident
that
commander.
person that tells everybody what to do.
Yep.
Would have that be able to
Available to
talk
them.
to. Could you actually talk to the firefighters that in there and say, hey, there's a false ceiling here? Is there communication?
No, it doesn't. Well, we
could.
We could
Right.
by radio.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
We could say, oh, hey, second floor over on the far
Yeah.
end is where the shutoff is for this or whatever.
Very helpful, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I bet a lot of cities have just started it with as fire hydrants, right? That's already probably here. You know where all the fire hydrants
Yep.
are, GPS. But back in the day, what was it like before that happened? You
Yeah,
just
it was
on the corner.
You drive up and you see it, and there it
You
is.
see it?
So
Yeah.
as we respond to a fire, our ambulance crew is letting the shift commander, the first engine, know where the hydrant is, and in the computers, in the rigs, the shift commanders, as they're responding, they can actually see the route. They can see where the hydrants are.
Okay,
And so technology has really come a long way.
you bet. What is it like for a driver of one of those rigs? Is it easy? I mean, you can see these corners they have to turn are not easy, especially in any town. How do you maneuver without taking something out?
Yeah, it's a lot of practice on driving. Every year, once or twice a year, we do emergency vehicle driver training.
Okay.
So we'll go down to the fairgrounds. We'll set up little orange cones and try not to hit them. It's maneuverability, but it takes a true mindset to drive that rig safely and to know that if you have to turn this corner, you got to swing out this far to make that turn. And obviously the new ladder truck is a lot longer than an engine,
Right.
so it takes more. But a lot of that is just practice, and if members aren't comfortable driving, they can take the rigs out anytime and go drive and
Learn it.
learn it. Just practice.
Okay. Yeah, because you never know. You might have to go, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, and another thing, are those serviced by staff, or do you have to take them to get fixed oil changes, or even filling them up with fuel? How does that?
A little bit of both. So it depends on what the issue is. If it's like valve work for the fire pump itself, we have one engine that is having valves replaced yesterday and today and maybe tomorrow. So we can do that in-house.
Okay.
If it's oil changes, brakes, tires, whatever, those get sent out for repair. Today we also have our annual ladder testing. So every year, by NFPA standards, we have to have all of our ladders tested. Aerial trucks, all the ground ladders, they all have to be tested to standard. So that's going on today, and that's an external company that comes in and does that.
Yeah, that's a lot. You have, again, how many engines do you have?
We have 4 engines,
Okay.
the ladder truck, 4 ambulances, 3 station cars, and a medium-duty squad.
All right. Well, we have a little bit more time. Again, both of us were at the meeting this morning. We're taping this here today, and you were presenting your budget to the commission. They adopted it. I'll say adopted. Still has to go to the council,
Right.
which is later on. That doesn't happen yet for a while, right?
Correct.
So, Are there any things that you want to highlight out of there that you really need to make safety concerns or a very successful department for what you're doing?
Yeah, so, the budget this year obviously went up from last year. We managed 3 different budgets. We managed fire protection, fire prevention, and EMS. EMS is a non-tax levy. It's an enterprise fund, so taxes don't play into that at all.
Okay.
That one is fairly high next year, but that's all covered by user fees and contracts and that type of stuff. And in that one, we know that we're going to have to cut some things just to save the account a little bit, but we put a lot of things in that are needed. In protection and prevention, those are affected by the taxes. Those went up. Personnel costs are the biggest impact on both of those, the highest increase. We had all of our department members submit budget requests on things that they would like to see, things that they think we need. And it goes from different types of training to some equipment to whatever.
Okay.
And there were a lot of things, a lot of very good things. Some things have been put in year after year and been cut year after year.
Okay.
And we fully expect things to get cut. We truly do. But for us, training is very, very important. The fire service has changed dramatically in the 28 years I've been in the fire service. Today's fire service is very different than yesterday's fire service. Buildings burn totally different today than they did years ago. Products today, furniture today is all petroleum based. It's all plastics and polyesters, where you didn't have that, and collapse of buildings is fast. So we try to maintain training on those types of topics on the fire side. So in there we've got like simulator training, having I think it's Nicolay College come down with it's called the flashover simulator, and a flashover happens when the temperature in a room gets to the point where everything ignites at once.
Oh, really?
And most everyone in the department has probably never experienced a flashover, which is good. But this training comes in and everybody gets put into the simulator, and you experience a flashover under controlled circumstances. And it's good because the crews, as they're in a building, are able to look for clues that something bad is going to happen. So that we feel is important. We have some equipment in there that we feel is important. One of the capital items that we put in is a second set of fire gear for everybody. That's a 3-year project, and as part of our cancer awareness, I think I mentioned that last month, we want to get that second set of gear for all of the line firefighters, so if they do come back from a fire, they're able to put on their backup set and wash their dirty set to reduce that amount of exposure.
Oh, definitely. You can smell it instantly.
Oh, yeah, you definitely can.
Yeah. There's it's a distinct smell.
Yep.
And unfortunately, a house fire or any kind of fire, structure fire versus your campfire.
Right.
And we all, the difference if
Oh,
you
yeah.
smell it, right?
Yeah,
I do
that
too.
you do.
Yeah,
That you do.
And like, oh no, that don't smell right. Something's
Right.
not right. But so so that's another piece that you're trying to get in. And how many outfits would that be? Quite a few.
So over the course of 3 years, it would be 33.
Oh, 3 years.
31.
So it's over a 3-year span.
It's over a 3-year period.
Okay, so the budget that you're budgeting wouldn't be the whole amount, right?
No,
You
it's
don't,
for 1/3
you
this
don't
year.
roll it over like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It'd be one third this year, 1/3 next, and 1/3.
Okay, so you'll have to ask for it
22.
again. Is that correct?
Yes.
In 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
But they're aware of it.
They're aware of it.
Okay.
And city administrator is very good about staying on top of these extended projects.
Yep.
Because he knows that there's an end point.
Right.
And then then we have to look at the replacement schedule, because fire gear is only good for 10 years. It has a 10-year lifespan.
Oh, really? And then it's out, huh?
And then it needs to be retired according to standard.
Oh, you can't give it away. Probably not.
No, you can't really give it away. You know, so it technically is out of service and
Helmet as well?
everything.
Because, you know, you see these, I don't know, memorabilia helmets, right? They can't be used.
Well, they can have them for memorabilia purposes,
Yeah.
but you can't use them in the fire service
Right.
anymore.
Because you've TV,
Oh, yeah.
you know, all that is something that you see.
Right.
Although, you know, you watch those movies like, was it Ladder 49?
Sure.
I don't know how realistic it is. You know, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some portions are.
And some
Ladder
aren't.
49 is better than Backdraft.
Yeah, I remember both of them. Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's
It's the movies, and
It is, yeah.
and it's different because it's not the real thing.
right. Yeah,
So-
we're not going in, you know, coats open and no masks. We're going in.
Is that what they were? I don't
fully
even
protected,
look.
yeah.
I bet from your guys' perspective of watching that, you're like, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I wouldn't think of it as that,
Sure.
but just like in video, we'd say, okay, why
Right.
are you filming it with the lens cap on or
Right.
something?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we got a chance to talk a little bit about what's in the budget, what you're looking at, and then definitely the new ambulance coming on board. I think
Yeah.
that's going to be nice. And when that does, I hope you can invite us to see, get a little bit of a view.
Definitely.
Maybe some of the neat pieces that are in both areas, the cab as well as the inside portion.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I ever want to be in there, but I think it'd be nice to people know. And if they are in there, just so they're you know, in an emergency situation, a little more comfortable.
Sure.
Because it can scare you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's not the place you want to be, really.
Right. Exactly.
So, but you want them there, and you need the stuff there for help. That's why you're here, and it's so important for fire and safety. So, anything else, Scott? We're probably out of time here already.
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot today.
Yeah, we did. And so we'll bring it back come in August, getting close to school. We'll talk about a little bit about safety
Okay.
in school. I think that's one of these crossing zones. All of a sudden, it'll be coming about. What should people do?
Sure.
Be careful. Slow down. I think there's some slow areas in
Yep.
here.
Yep.
I know that's more PD, but you guys would have to respond to that stuff if someone was to get hit.
Yep.
And more kids are out come that time. Right now, it's hot. They're inside or they're in the pool.
Right.
But come fall or, you know, that time of school, you're going to see them out, and there's crossing guards and people crossing streets. So we'll touch base on that, and I'll monitor your Facebook page. Hopefully
Sounds
nothing
good.
big happens
Yeah.
over the next month. But I think we'll have some things to talk about. If you guys here watching have a question that you want me to bring up on this program, you need to call me. That's the best way, 715-486-2070. Call the firehouse otherwise and mention it to the receptionist. And
Yep.
I want Chief Owen to bring this up with us on the show.
Okay.
I think, you know, any way we can get some dialogue
Yeah.
from our viewers, the better. So
Definitely.
appreciate it. You coming on my show.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty. Thanks again for watching us on Connections. This is Tom Laux, and for Chief Owen, thanks for coming again, and we'll meet next month.
All right.
All right.